Velkommen alle sammen til webinaret her i dag. I'll just switch over to English because our special guest we have here today is Steve, and I will actually give Steve as much time to tell about his brilliant system and his good structure and how we actually create 5 times more leads on LinkedIn. So, and just a few practical things. We will record this session here, and you can actually go to my LinkedIn, my LinkedIn and my YouTube channel to see it again. And I hope that you will just give me a shout out in the chat if you have any questions for me or even for Steve. And Steve is also, I think he will bring a colleague as well called Vincent. And I hope that you'll just come up with all the questions that you have so that you will get all your questions answered during this session. So welcome to you, Steve. I look forward to this. Can you start by just giving you a short presentation about you and why you're here today? Oh, you're muted, Steve. Just to...
I apologize. Hello, everyone.
There you go.
And thanks for your time today and your consideration. I'm Steve Naumov, and I am one of the co-founders of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is actually a platform that is a third-party software for your LinkedIn outreach. And the different part about our solution comparing to all the other tools out there on the market is that our tool is completely cloud-based. So that means that it's not another Google Chrome extension that wants you to have your computer on in order for your searches and campaigns and sequences to work, but everything works on the background. Can you hear me well, Henning? No sound is from me.
I hear you fine, no problem,
okay,
Steve.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you just
okay.
Carry on. So.
Okay, yeah. So, and the other thing that is completely different than everyone else and that we can do and no one else can do on the market is that we can bypass the weekly connection request limits on LinkedIn. So that one is like 100 per week, and with our solution, you will be able to send 500 plus weekly. That's 5 times more than what you can do manually, and the whole process in the meantime is completely automated, meaning sending those connection requests and the sequential follow-up messaging to people that will accept to expand the network with you. So I'm sure that most of you using LinkedIn extensively is the most effective B2B platform. And I'm a big believer that sales, business development, and also recruiting is just a game of numbers. So increasing your outreach times 5, you can expect 5 times more results in return than what you're used to do in the moment. So I think that I can show you how our platform works and all the capabilities and the features of our solution. If you don't mind, I can start with that.
Yeah, no, I'll just tell that I just launched a poll here on the site in the webinar program, and it's just we need to know a little bit about who is actually attending this webinar. So I will just ask the question and say how many of you are actually users of LinkedIn Sales Navigator, because that is some of the things that we are going to talk a little bit about today. So if a lot of you are not using or are familiar with the Sales Navigator, we need to go a little bit more into details. But use the chat if there's anything that you don't understand or you just need any questions about. So actually, Steve, your system can actually save salespeople a lot of time, and also compared to other systems, you can actually make 5 times more leads, and that is because you actually passes the gateway where normally you can only send 100 LinkedIn connection requests to people, but you can actually send 500. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. So the new limit was implemented like April of last year. And after a week, we came on the market because we saw that we have a value that no one has it on the market. So
Yeah.
starting that period, a lot of toolkits that were on the market tried to make up for that new limit, because it used to be 100 per day, and our tool is just getting you back to the good old times on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
we are not sending those requests as an email. We are not sending those requests as a group message. We are not using private emails to send those requests, because that way you don't get that customized connection node. So we're
Yeah.
sending 500 regular connection requests. One more thing that I want to mention for the audience today is that the usage of Sales Navigator doesn't change our performances. So even if you don't use Sales Navigator, you will still be able to get the same numbers of our solution. The only difference is that with the Sales Navigator, you will have much more filters and more precise prospecting. So yeah, we suggest you use that one, but it's definitely not a must. I will show you today all the other ways to do the prospecting as well.
And it's around 33% who actually uses Sales Navigator from the audience, and the rest, 1/3, no, I don't use Sales Navigator, and the last third, no, but I would like to hear/learn to use the Sales Navigator. The last one, I can just tell you that I'll just when Steve starts to talk in a bit, I'll put a link in the chat, because the next webinar that I'm going to launch is actually totally about Sales Navigator. And we're going to launch 2 webinars in the upcoming time. And that is one where it is, if you don't know the Sales Navigator at all, then I'm going to tell you about it. Why do you need to buy it? And the second one is that Sales Navigator just come with a huge update with some new different features, some new intelligent things, and I'm going to give you a walkthrough of all that functionality. So, but Steve, I have tried your system, I've tried your engine, and to be totally honest, I'm impressed. And I can see that I have actually, in another system, I've actually ran out of power, and that is because I hit the head on the roof by bouncing into this limit of 100 connection requests. So I'm very fond of your system. I should be honest saying that. So I will just mute my microphone and lean back and start listening, because I think this is very interesting. And I'll be watching the chat. So any questions, just write it in the chat. Take it away, Steve.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's jump on the good part for today's webinar. So this is how our dashboard looks like. If you decide to use our system, we're creating a login for you. And when we create a login, you will come to an empty dashboard. And using your LinkedIn credentials, you will be able to attach your LinkedIn account on our solution. It takes few minutes to synchronize with the platform, and after that, our solution can practically be a virtual assistant with superpowers for you and your sales process on LinkedIn. So after your account is attached, and if you open your account, on the homepage, you will be able to see the statistics, and that's like how many requests we were able to send in the 24-hour span, 48, 1 week, and 1 month. So these are the numbers that we're talking about. This is 5 times more than you can do manually, and in the same time, this one are going out automatically. So this one is saving you around 1.5 hours or 2 hours per workday. This monthly outreach is a number that you will need 5 months of manual work to reach out to this amount of people, of potential clients and targeted audience. So on the platform, we have 3 different campaigns. The first one is very simple. That is the publisher, and you can use that one to schedule posts for your newsfeed. So over here, you can use text, you can use hashtags, and you can use links from articles or anything. So when you paste a link over here, you will get a preview on how will that link look like on your newsfeed. After you get the preview, you can also remove the URL so it will look much better. You can choose a time and date when to schedule that post. So when you do that, if you spend, let's say, half an hour during the weekend, you can schedule multiple of those, and you can make your profile extremely active for your existing network, sharing news from the industry, company news, maybe looking for new team members, or advertise your products or services. So that's all about the publisher. And the other two campaigns are Messenger and Connector, and there is only one slight difference between these two. The Messenger campaign is for people that are already part of your network. So there is a campaign that starts with a message, and you can use it to reach out and reconnect to your old business contacts, maybe invite them for a webinar, or advertise some change or new service or new product of your company. So that one is for the first cycle of connections. And the Connector campaign is the one that my clients are mostly using it. So there is the campaign that is sending all those connection requests to the second and third cycle of connections. So this is the campaign you will use to expand your network and generate new leads. So if you start a new campaign or open an existing one, this is what is the content of that campaign. The connection message actually is up to 300 characters, and that's the message that you will be sending out together with your request. So this is that message that you're sending together with all those 500 requests. Using these tags, you can personalize that message. So when our platform is sending those requests, it's replacing the first name of that person, and you're addressing that person with their first name. Or you can also use the titles and the companies in the campaign. For example, hey, first name, hey, Christine, I saw that you're a leader of communication, with the title tag at your company. So that's the message that is going out with the connection requests, and these go like on every 19 to 20 minutes. That's around 70 per day and 500 plus weekly. When a person accepts your connection request, you can choose how aggressive you would like to be with the follow-up. I personally use 24 hours after connecting, because that way you will avoid sending that message in a wrong time. For example, if I send a connection request to Henning and he accepts it at 2 p.m. at his time zone, very probably he won't mind if I send a follow-up message at the same time the next day, because that's his routine. So,
or actually, Steve, you can also see it depends on who is your target group, because if you're going at the C-level or top-level management, well, they are quite busy. So normally what I see is that you need to give them some more time actually to answer your request or get back to you again.
Yes, correct. So, I'm just giving a better clue of the strategy. Some people that spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, they use even this one immediately after connecting. But me personally, I give 24 hours and then I send a message. We call that a welcome message because it's the first message after the connection. And usually the content on that one is like, glad to connect, first name, with a better explanation on that intro that you gave the person before they connected with you. Also, there is different strategies here. You can push that person for a meeting right away, or you can throw a question that will make that person engage in conversation, so you can learn their process better and what are they dealing with, and how they can benefit from the product or the service that you're offering. So the sequence, you can add as many steps as you want. It's up to your strategy, how long is your sales cycle, and you can also choose the time in between those follow-ups. So it's up to you how aggressively you want to go after your prospects. The only way to stop this sequence is if you manually remove a person that is already existing customer or maybe a bad fit, or if a person replies back at any point. So if a person replies back on this message, the sequence for that person will stop. You will need to manually engage with that person, because they already expressed some interest, or maybe they ask for some more info on email, or maybe they use some other solution for the same matter. So that's the time when you're taking over the lead manually, and you're going into a discussion on how you can convert him into a demo call, a meeting, or maybe a client right away, depending on the service that you provide. I would like to ask if anyone has any questions so far.
Yeah, just come up with the questions in the chat. If anyone writes anything, I'll give you a shout out,
Okay.
Steve.
Okay, no problem.
But not so far. So you can go out and find your leads, pick your target groups. You can decide
Yeah,
when.
I'm not still yet there, Henning. I would
Yeah,
like to explain first how you need first to have a strategy on how you want to approach those prospects. And after your strategy is completed, then we will go on the search. But I have like a couple more things to say regarding the
great,
campaign.
no problem.
Anytime you go into the people section, you will see the people that are part of the campaign that you're running. Over here, you can also export a report on those people. And in that report, you will get a CSV file that contains all this information, plus the LinkedIn URL of those prospects. You will also get time and dates when the requests were sent out to that particular person. If accepted, time and date, when did he accept it? And if he replied back, time and date, when did he replied back as well. Also in this report, you will have everything that the person has available in their contact info. So if they have a phone number available for their connections, you will also have that information included in the CSV report. If they don't have the number, you will get everything that they have. So we're not scraping anything outside of LinkedIn, but everything that is available over there. So the statistic I showed you on the beginning of the demo is on a profile level, but some clients are running different campaigns, testing different messages, or going after different geographies, industries, or titles. So for every separate campaign, you can also check the statistic, how many people you joined into that sequence, how many of those are already sent out, what's the connection rate of that campaign, and what's the reply rate of that campaign.
Yeah,
So
great. We have one question. Is that okay, Steve?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's Thomas is asking, can you choose companies in your pipeline and then, for example, send a request to all of them working in HR? Question mark.
Yeah. So I will show you all the searches now. But
Yeah,
just to answer the question, yes, you can. Using the Sales Navigator, you can do that. So using the Sales Navigator, let me open a new one. The basic filters on LinkedIn are much more simple than those that you get with the paid edition of the Navigator. So the filters you can use on a regular LinkedIn profile is by location, current company, industry, profile language, service categories, and also keywords on every different filters. But on the Navigator, this one is far more dominant. So when you're prospecting using the Navigator, you can select current company, past company, company headcounts, functions. So the question was regarding HR. Yeah,
exactly.
you can select the company, and then in the function you can use human resources. So yeah, there are 2,500 people working HR at LinkedIn in the moment.
Yeah. So Thomas, to quickly answer, yes, you can. And what Steve here is actually quite quickly explaining to you is that you can do it whether you got your LinkedIn or you got the Sales Navigator, but there's a huge bigger amount of different filters, so you can actually narrow it more down by the use of Sales Navigator. And therefore you will hear us experts here always talk on the of Sales Navigator, because it is a very, very good tool actually to find the right decision makers that you want to get into dialogue with. There's too widespread a search if you only use the LinkedIn, according to us who works with this every day.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
For example, additionally, all these HR people, probably you will be looking for a decision maker. So using the Navigator, you can get people that are VPs or partners or CXOs or owners. So you don't want to talk with the people that are training, unpaid, or entry level. You would like to get a decision maker probably from the HR department if you would like to offer something to them.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
so
that's not a possibility to do exactly that example here in your normal LinkedIn premium account.
correct. Yeah. So regarding the campaigns, I think I showed you the basic on how to create a sequence with multiple steps. I suggest 3 to 5 steps because people won't be responsive on your first try. They're not all of them present on LinkedIn like on daily basis. So yeah, you should have a more patient campaign, 3 to 5 steps to find the right time for a person to discuss your offerings with you. After you create that strategy on how you want to approach your target audience, next step would be to populate the campaign with your target audience. In order to do that, you will need to start a search. And when you start a search, you have plenty of options to do that. If you're not using the Sales Navigator, you can use the URL from these very few filters that you can use. Me personally, I use this one only for a messenger campaign. So that is my first connections. And then let's say if I want to organize a webinar, I can check for the people that I have from Denmark. I can even add industries and I can even add precise titles of those people. But for example, for this webinar, using this URL, I can mirror these people on the platform ready to throw them in a messenger campaign. So that will be a URL search for your first cycle of connections. You can do the very same for the second and third cycle of connections, and those are people that are not yet connected with you. But if you use just one basic filter like I did for my existing connections, you will get a lot of results. So you
Yeah.
will need to precise better what would be the right target audience for you. Let's say for my project, it would be marketing and advertising, and I would like to connect with CEOs or owners of those marketing companies. And if I add those extra filters, I just narrow that number down from 2.5 millions down to 2,700 people. As I said, the Sales Navigator is not a must to use on our platform. It doesn't affect your performances as well, but I highly recommend if you're investing in your outreach and if you're investing in a mass outreach like our platform can offer, I highly suggest you use the Navigator because that way you can use a lot of filters and precisely select your target audience. And then using this URL, you can copy and paste it on the platform. This user is not a Navigator user, but you get these 2 lines. You can put a name for your own records, and I usually use the filters that I am going after, so I will know next campaign or next search what I already targeted, and I will try something else. So in the records, I use the filters, and in the second line, I paste the LinkedIn Navigator URL. So when you start a search, you will get all those people mirrored on the platform, ready for them to be thrown in the campaign that you created for them. After you do that, the platform will put all those people in the upcoming tasks, and it will automatically send out all the invites, as I said, on 19 to 20 minutes difference, and the messages, depending on the connection rate of your campaign, the messages will follow the rules that you already set up when you were creating the campaign. So all you will need to do after you create your strategy, after you prospect your target audience, after you add them in a campaign, if you add, let's say, like 2,000 people in a campaign, in the next 4 weeks, all you will need to do is check your inbox for people that replied back, ask you a question, ask for some more info, ask for a time and date for a meeting, and you will only engage in manual conversation with people that at any way reacted back to your strategy, to your approach. Do you guys have any questions about this?
I just put out a poll here in the webinar program, I'm just asking does anyone use any automation system here on LinkedIn? And there's a until now one who has answered this one, and that was a yes. So so far there is someone who does. So please fill out here, then we can learn a little bit more about you. And so does it make sense what Steve is talking about here? That if you just quickly sum up, you can easily go out, you can map out your target group, you can pull them into the system here, and you can actually set up a sequence in how many steps would you actually like to engage with them. First, reach out to them, try to connect with them, and after they have accepted your connection request, you can send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as many messages to them as you want. And what happens if, let's say that I say thank you for connecting and then reply? Does it stop then, or what happens, Steve?
Yeah, if you allow me, I will continue and I will jump to
Yeah,
our inbox
no problem.
because our solution is completely working on the backend. So that means that we can do absolutely everything that you're able to do manually. So our inbox is actually the regular inbox that you have on your LinkedIn. The only downside of our inbox is that we only update this one once on every 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're having a conversation that is happening right now at the lifetime, I suggest you use this inbox. But if you use the platform, like most of my clients are already using it, I suggest you use our inbox. So to check for replies. When you go to our inbox, we have implemented some extra features that will help you stay more organized and also save you some time to respond back to clients. So I will start with the saved replies. Here you can save like common replies templates. For example, if you're getting a lot of requests to book a meeting with you, probably you will need to have your Calendly saved. So that one, you can save it over here. So every time when someone asks to book a meeting with you, instead of typing this all over again, with one click, you will get that content ready to be sent out to a person. Or if you're getting a lot of no thanks and you have, let's put this one as an example, you have a rebuttal on that one that you don't want to type that all over again more and more or copy it from somewhere. So if you save that as a template with only one click, you will get that content ready to be sent out to
Nice.
the client. Yeah. The situation that you mentioned, sometimes it happens. You have a campaign of 5 steps, and the first one is not salesy, but it's just like, I would love to share my expand my network with you. Some people are sometimes replying back to that one, and when they reply, they're cutting the sequence. So instead of going into a manual conversation before you even explain to that prospect why is the reason to connect with them, you can use this button to throw that person back to a sequence. So if they reply too soon before you get to the main point of your outreach, you can select a message that fits to continue the sequence. So if you select this message and press confirm, this message will be sent out right away to that prospect, and the other messages will follow the same rules that you already set up when you're creating the campaign, unless that person replies back again and cuts the sequence again. Also, additional features on our inbox is like a couple of CRM features that will help you stay more organized. For example, if someone you categorized as lead, you can mark them as a lead and they get a different status here. So at any point, you can open a list of people that you need to pay more attention to because they are already a lead. Or you can leave yourself a note, for example, call Christine mid-June, and you can save that one and mark Christine for a follow-up. That's a different status and different list of people. So when you come back and check who you need to follow up with, you'll remind yourself that Christine asked you to follow up in mid of June. After you're done with that, you can remove your note and you can remove the person from the follow-up status. So this one also makes easier for you to stay more organized, and on top of everything, you can also integrate some actions with your current sales process using webhooks of Zapier or Integromat. You can create a reaction when a certain action happens on the platform. For example, every time when you manually mark someone as a lead, you can create a webhook that is creating a HubSpot account for that person, or Trello board card, or whatever do you use to manage your
So just to
leads.
pin it out, Steve, sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah,
I just need to make sure that everyone in the audience knows what you mean by a webhook. It is actually, instead of you take the information manually from your system and maybe type it manually into a CRM system or whatever, wherever you have your sales pipeline, you can actually hook it up to a service like Zapier or something like that, and then it automatically sends it over to your CRM system. Is that
correct.
correct?
Correct, yes.
Great. If
You
in
can,
audience, if you have any questions for that, just write in the chat, and I will explain it to you. Yeah, sorry, Steve. Carry on.
yeah, so Zapier is the most popular software for that one, and it's like a bridge software between one software as a service and another one. So Zapier has 3,000 plus integrations, and we're pushing a webhook to them that contains the first name of the person, the last name, the title, the company, LinkedIn URL, the name of your LinkedIn account that generated that lead, phone number and email if available on that person's profile. So we are pushing a lot of data, and you can use that one to send an email. You can use that to put it in your CRM. You can use it to put it in the Trello board, maybe put them in some Google Sheet or whatever. There is like 3,000 plus integrations on Zapier, and the options using the webhooks is absolutely like unlimited number of options.
The main idea is actually that us salespeople, we are a little bit lazy, so we don't want
Yes.
to do that manually work. So we're not going to go more into details about Zapier and the webhook thing, but if you just can keep in mind that the webhook with Zapier or another tool can actually avoid you doing manually work. So it sends it over to the data from here. Can you send it over every lead that you need to work on or has already become a customer? You can actually put it over in your customer management system or whatever. So
Correct.
that's it. And if you would like to see that in details, you're more than welcome just to contact me, write to me, and I will give you a demo of it. No problem. So yes,
Correct.
carry on,
So
Steve.
yes, so salespeople are lazy for those boring things they need to do, and that's the whole point of all these tools that we have, like chat robots, chat robot callers, email sequences. Like there is like tons of email automations, and if I can compare my product and if I will compare it to something, this is like similar to the email automations that most of us are using, but the approach is a little bit different. Like email approach is like 5 to 6 steps also, but you give a bunch of big information. LinkedIn outreach is a little bit needs to be straight to the point, and considering the amount of outreach that our tool offers, it's like more than 2,000 people of targeted audience monthly. I'm a firm believer that if you have the right approach to send connection requests to all those people, and if your prospecting is okay, uh, there is no way you don't get the success that of this one.
Yeah.
I have like a couple more things to show regarding the searches. So aside from those URLs that you can use, you can also use LinkedIn event URL to target audience. For example, you can use the LinkedIn event URL to scrape all the attendees that are part of that event. but you must press attend on that event or maybe register depending what the admins are asking you to do. Or you can scrape a LinkedIn group. So in my experience, using these two ways of prospecting have better connection rate, because your connection note will be already even more personalized, like, hey Henning, I saw that you were attending this event and I also have something to show you that I think will be a good option to consider. Or, hey Henning, I saw that you're part of this group and I would love to connect with you and expand my network with like-minded people. So that way the prospects are having an idea that you did your research on them, or you have something in common, so that affects your connection rate and reply rate. People will feel more comfortable to engage in conversation with you since you already are part of some same community. Aside from these two searches, you can also upload a CSV, as long as you have at least the first name, so we can address that people using that tag in the campaign, or the LinkedIn URL, so we can send that request to the person. The other information is optional if you want to add. So if you use Apollo or Seamless or Zoom Info to scrape to do the prospecting over there, you can export the CSV file, you can edit the columns in that CSV, and then you can upload it on our platform ready for them to be added in your campaign sequence.
If I could give you one example for the CSV file, I just had one customer and they had a company making cold calls out to a bunch of companies. So they had a company name, they had the name of the decision makers as well, and we could just import it as a CSV file here into the automation. And well, it hasn't finished yet, but we hope that we actually make a better engagement that gives more value instead of cold calling. So that's just one way of doing it. And Steve, we have one question here. It's Thomas asking, can you use your company profile to get them connect to your page?
No, actually, this one is for your private profile, because your company profile doesn't get to send connection requests. Your company profile can send invites for a follow. We are not automating your company page outreach, but we're automating your private profile outreach. But you can run a messenger campaign for your whole existing network, and you can send the message to them. I will just do an example, like you create a company page followers. You can create a campaign, and that the messenger campaign, as I said, starts with a message because you're already connected with those people. So you can create the message to be, hi, first name, hope all is well on your end. I just noticed that we've been connected for a while and wanted to send a link to our company page so you can follow our progress on the market. Let's say this is an example. Thanks. So when you create this campaign, now you can go to your network and you can add the entire network you have. So in this case, it's 2,500. You can add the entire network in the company, in the campaign that I just created, and the platform will start sending that message to everyone in your network.
And it took you, what, 2 minutes to do that, Steve? It's pretty easy.
It's too long. I will say like 30 seconds to do this. And after that, every next message will be sent out on every 7 to 8 minutes. So if you run that campaign 24/7, that one will be around 200 messages per day. So let's say you can invite your whole existing network of 2,500 people in just like 13 days to follow your company page, and I think that's impressive.
Yeah, and I hope that answered your question, Thomas. Otherwise, you just put some more details in the chat. Yeah, carry on, Steve.
Yeah, so on my side, those are the main features of the platform. It's super important. It's super easy and easy steps. So the first step would be to create a strategy of how you want to approach your target audience. What do you want to share with your prospects, and how aggressive you would like to do that. In my
Yes.
strategy is a brief intro in the connection note, thanks for connecting, and a better explanation on the service that we offer in the welcome message. And I, after that, send them a question like, how do you deal with this at the moment? So I'm not pushing for a call, I'm telling them what I do, and I'm asking for a feedback. If they already have a solution for this, is it better, is it worse, or they don't use anything? After that, I throw a quick question like, if I don't get an answer back after 3 days, I send them a short question. Hey, first name, did you have the time to go over this info that I provided? My next step is an offer for a trial and a quick call for a better understanding. And the last step is like, I just send them my email and my phone number. So if I'm reaching out at a bad time, they will have my contact info to reach out to me when they need our services.
Yeah, we have another question here. How often do you change your approach / scripts in your automation to try different ways?
Well, personally, me, I have like sales team of around 15 people, and we're testing different things on different people. But as an individual user, you don't have to run the same campaign. If you have only one campaign, you can edit those steps at any time, and pressing this button, the changes will take an immediate effect. But that way, you won't be able to follow how your changes affected your campaign. So, what I would suggest is if you want to test different approaches, you can create different campaigns. And then instead of throwing big amounts of people in the same campaign, you can do smaller searches and throw them in those different approaches. And after a while, you will have a better statistic when you open campaign by campaign and going to the stats. After, let's say, 30 to 60 days, you will have a better idea what works better for your service or product that you offer on LinkedIn. So yeah, you can do the testing. It's not A/B testing, like the platform won't shift sending one person from one campaign, one person from another, but you will throw different batches of people in the different campaigns, and after a while you will be able to see what works for you. But you change your way until you find the right way, and then you know how they say the team that wins, you never change.
Great. I hope that answered your question, Lucas. Here, thanks for that, Steve. And if there's any more question, just put it in the chat. Otherwise, I think that we will jump over, and because now we've seen the entire system, and just to mention some of the big bullet points. First of all, it is a system. It's quite easy. If you have the right strategy, if you have the right text to put in the different sequences, it is very easy for you to build campaigns. And I could also see that you could actually copy a campaign so that you don't need to start all over again.
Correct.
But if there's some minor changes that you need to, let's say that you go for the Western Denmark, and you just want to do the same for the Southern Denmark, then you just copy the campaign, and then you put in the new target group, and maybe make a few minor changes according to how the first campaign has performed, and then you're up running again.
Yeah.
And because it is that easy, and you can actually cover a lot of ground within your target groups. And again, with Steve's system here, you don't hit the head on the roof in these 100 connection requests. because if you have several campaigns running at the same time, it is actually quite easy to get to the 100 numbers, and then you can't get any further until next week. So that is one of the best thing. And what I normally say when we're talking about systems like this is that the system, that's of course the main thing, but the second main thing is that I normally say a fool with a tool is still a fool. So you need to know all the buttons and all the different things that you can do with the tool. And again, you need to put in the right approach within these different sequences. You need to make it as personally as possible. That will give you good numbers with using systems like this.
Yeah.
So
Today I would like to thank everyone for the time that you spared for the webinar, so you can take a look at our platform. I'm very confident that this can be a game changer for anyone that is already generating leads using LinkedIn. So I guess that's like most of the business to business world. In addition, in the chat, I will just throw my LinkedIn URL over here. So if someone wants to send me a connection request, and if someone remembers of some questions later on today, feel free to reach out to me or to Henning, and we will take it from there.